Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Reviews with Jake, where I just got done watching Censor. Censor is the story about a woman who works at a rating agency for films, watching all the movies that are ready to be released and determining if they are fit to be seen by the masses. Watching blood and rape all day is a tough gig for anyone, especially for someone who's dealing with the trauma of a missing sister. I've been hearing all sorts of hoopla about this movie, nothing too in-depth, but just this title. I keep hearing this title around horror spaces. I literally knew nothing about the movie before I hunted it down to watch it. I didn't even watch the trailer. For all I knew, I was watching a smut film myself, presented by Amazon VOD. But I was excited. I don't get that feeling much anymore to go into a movie completely blind, completely unaware of anything. Hell, just yesterday they released the new trailer for Shang-Chi and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna watch this. I'm gonna see the movie. I don't need to see any more. That lasted a whopping 24 hours, so I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see some jagoff that put in the title of the video, fights in the new Shang-Chi trailer. Censorship at work right now. Seems fitting. I'm like, you, dude. Like, what do I seriously have to do in 2021 to avoid stuff like that?
We'll smash him! I'm gonna smash it! Ha! Get it! Ah!
Yeah, I could spin the globe and dive into some rabbit hole on Netflix, watch some movie that no one's ever heard of. Yeah, I'd be going in blind, but you're hucking at the wall at that point. So to be here watching a movie that I felt pretty good about, trusting, and knowing absolutely nothing about it? Hell yeah. Well, the pros start with the concept itself. This is a really cool original idea to center a film around. Explore the filter that every film needs to get through in order to get to your eyes. Especially since the film takes place a couple decades ago when video nasties were on the rise. That heroic shield standing, taking all the bullets for us in society, but at what cost? Yeah, I'm sure someone out there has explored these waters before. I mean, it's 2021, it feels like everything has been done at this point, but it was new to me and I thought it was a perfect scenario for a psychological horror film. And our lead actress played the role brilliantly, another one that I can't pronounce, so here's her name. Good on her, she sold the damage, the trauma this woman has dealt with even before pushing play on any of this hoopla, but dealing with it on a real personal level herself. You get the feeling from jump that this woman is balancing on a tightrope and you're watching in anxiety with your mouths covered by your hands. The film was also helmed very well, both in terms of the reality as well as the production of the film she is watching. It's actually a really interesting time for me to watch this movie right now because I've been diving into old high-8 footage of previous films I've done for a side project I'm working on currently. So to be in a state where I'm constantly watching old footage and then you watch a film that's centered around it, I don't know, it's kind of cool. Granted, no, none of the films I made back in the day remotely resembled a video nasty, but still it's the quality of the film that's fresh in my mind, which is perfect for me to analyze this film. The grainy picture quality, the thin, baseless audio, the tracking issues, the SD aspect ratios. This film did a very good job of making this look very authentic, very feasible, and it's not, frankly, a very easy look to achieve. Trust me, I've tried with previous projects, and it never looked this good. The lighting in the film was also very slick and stylized, both inside of the films that she's watching as well as reality. The vibrant full use of color was on full display here. It had intense saturation and a nice color palette that kind of gave me like a cotton candy Clash vibe. The film had a very great handle of getting the most out of every hue. Like obviously if you have a woman watching movies all day on a TV screen or a projector, there's gonna be a lot of blues. But when she's reviewing a film that has a lot of blood on screen, it cuts back to her face being illuminated by the projection going right over her shoulder. But it's no longer just blue hue. It's a nice little hint of red. Not a lot, but just enough to notice it and really acknowledge the nice little bloody cherry on top. This film undeniably had some great style to it and it was a nice treat to the eyes. However, if you look past the abundance of oohs and ahs that this movie possesses, it does kind of falter a little bit. For starters, I don't think that the movie possessed the emotional weight that I was hoping to get from a movie like this. Having the movie centered around a woman with such psychological trauma just primes itself and screams to really care about her character, but you never really get to that level. At least I didn't. Don't get me wrong, they give you enough to understand her, understand the actions and the decisions that she makes, but they don't give enough to really empathize with her, like really feel her pain. Part of that probably came from the fact that this movie has some pacing issues. This movie is short. It's less than an hour and a half, and I don't think that they used the time very well. For one, there was the questionable use of both dream sequences and flashbacks. Most would either serve as an exposition dump to give us, the viewer, some information, or just kind of liven things up a little bit because most of the creepy stuff happens in these kind of visions. The movie is kind of a slow burn, so it does have those lulls, but whenever these things happen, it didn't really liven things up. It kind of felt more like a distraction. They felt like disruptions that broke the natural flow of the narrative. You get a good handful of them during the first two acts, which makes the grasp that we have on this film, especially from a story and emotional standpoint, very loose by the time it hits the third act. act. And when the third act hits, yes, the pacing picks up substantially, but one, it's kind of out of nowhere. It goes from 0 to 60. And two, yes, you want your film to pick up. You want things to liven up in the third act. You want the finale to be strong. But I just didn't find it as satisfying as I was hoping for. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to dive into specifics or spoilers, but there were plenty of times where I was watching the screen and I was like, ooh, it'd be really great if they did this. That would be but then they would go and do something else, which is fine. I'm okay with being wrong. The movie doesn't have to go play by the way that I wanted to. The problem was the way that they took it was a much more ambiguous approach than I would have liked it to. I had a lot of questions after watching this movie. They left a lot of details and aspects open-aired for interpretation, which I do really enjoy in some films, but this one in particular just didn't give me the catharsis I was hoping for. All in all, though, the movie's pretty good and a lot of great style and a little less substance. Still, for a horror movie that's less than 90 minutes long, I think the ratio kind of balances in its favor. My final professional assessment is a pass. I mean, it passes the test. I'm not saying pass on the film, whatever. I'm going to give Censor a B. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with new reviews coming real soon. Stay safe, thanks for checking in.